Hi everyone, welcome back to Our World TV. Today we are going to discuss the very odd things we found surrounding Chris Watts and the Watts family homicide. Please note we are not trying to downplay the severity of what happened, and we do understand that this case was truly tragic. We simply want to discuss with you the very odd things about this case, and we hope that you could share your thoughts on this as well in the comments below. Perhaps you picked up something strange that we could discuss further. We note all these things with all due respect for the victims. If you are not familiar with the story, please check out our documentary we made covering the full story on the Watts family, listed in the description box below, or click on the iCard above. The first discrepancy I would like to discuss is that there are no crime scene photos, for example, released by official police photographers. And there is no specific crime scene for either Shanann or the children that has been identified. It appears not even to have been acknowledged, and the district attorney didn't allude to any location during the sentencing hearing. In fact, it's still not even clear where the crime scene was in the Watts family home. What do you think of that? There is also no certainty about the time of death, order of death, or even motive. However, it does appear that Chris Watts' motive was to start a new life with his new girlfriend, Nicole Kessinger. So instead of divorcing his wife Shanann, he annihilated his pregnant wife and two baby daughters, Celeste 3 and Bella 4. And whatever happened to the hair that was reportedly found in the truck? A crime journalist who had followed the case reported that hundreds of hairs were found in the truck. According to police sources, they had recovered hundreds, not handfuls, not one or two, but hundreds of strands of hair. As you can very well guess, this would have been very significant in terms of the forensic analysts trying to determine when exactly the poor people passed away. But to this day, no time frame has been given on a time of death. Therefore, I have to question this. Why was this ignored? This is really strange. Furthermore, the murders were not committed in a fit of rage as Chris confessed to police. It seemed very calculated and planned. He clearly wanted out of his marriage. The night prior to the murders, Watts texted a coworker, volunteering to go to the oil field early the next morning to Survey 319, where the bodies of his murdered family were found. This case was oddly resolved very quickly, with Chris confessing to the murders after only 6 hours of interrogation.
Permission to go in? Okay. I'm just going to check the back, see if I can see anything.
We find it strange how there was so much information, including police footage, released to the public on this case, even before Chris's final sentencing. We are not suggesting that this is fake or a hoax of any kind. It is just very unusual that new things keep popping up regarding this case and that there are so many inconsistencies. I came across this video on YouTube discussing the neighbor's garage camera footage and a shadow that is seen under the truck. As I was watching it at various timestamps, at the timestamp around 12 minutes and 45 seconds, you can see a small shadow coming from the inside of the garage. At that instance, you can see Chris Watts come from the front of his truck and pick up whatever the moving shadow was. He then proceeds back towards the front of the truck. At first I thought it could be the family dog Dieter, but we know that Dieter was clearly locked in the house when Officer Coonrod showed up. This tiny shadow could have possibly been either Bella or Celeste, indicating that one of them could have still been alive at this stage. So possibly that would mean that Chris would have horrifically thrown one of the girls into the oil tank while they were still alive. According to the autopsy report, the children were apparently smothered, so that leaves me questioning, whose shadow was cast under the truck in the early hours on that fatal morning? And according to the autopsy results originally sealed, appeared not to be entirely accurate. How were the bodies of the two children forced through 8-inch holes without breaking any bones or significantly damaging their bodies? Chris also had a change of clothes. You see him here at his truck loading the victims' bodies. He is wearing a black shirt. Later on, after he committed the murders, surveillance footage shows him buying breakfast after disposing his family's bodies. Here Chris is seen wearing an orange t-shirt. And later on that afternoon, when Chris arrives home on that fateful day, we see him wearing a white shirt.
Scott, how you doing? How's it going?
I'm not suggesting that it is abnormal to have a change of clothes during the day, but 3 changes seems odd. Just thought it was interesting to mention. Nicole Atkinson mentioned several times that she was the last one to see Shanann Watts alive. However, Chris Watts killed Shanann, therefore making him the last one to see her alive. Just took note of this, that this was mentioned a few times, and I really thought this was odd. Nicole had dropped Shanann off at home that morning at approximately 2 a.m. after returning home from their business trip to Arizona. Later that morning, Nicole panicked and thought it was bizarre that Shanann had not texted her or called her. I understand Nicole, being her best friend, was worried about her pregnant friend Shanann, but it just seems odd that panic would set in so quickly after not hearing from her friend for only a few hours, and to immediately pursue a wellness check. I mean, if I text a friend and did not hear from them within a few hours, or even a day, I would not assume something is wrong. I would think they were busy, or would get back to me later on. It makes me question why panic set in so quickly, making friend Nicole worried from the get-go. Nicole showed up at the house to check on her friend and called Chris, which actually ruined his plans. I'm sure he was going to get rid of Shanann's car and make it seem like she had taken the kids and left him. Another thing that I found odd was that Nicole told police that Shanann's car was still in the garage and with the kids' car seats still in it. However, when you look at the pictures of the house, there is no way to see inside the garage. The windows are small and quite high up, so how would Nicole have known that Shanann's car was still there? The speed in which Shanann's best friend, mother, and neighbor suspected the husband of killing them is all very telling, as she was missing for only half a day at that point. So that makes me wonder how many clues and signs they had been picking up on before this happened. They were probably well aware of an abusive situation, but never had enough evidence for sure. According to Shanann's friends and the media reports, she was going to leave Chris, but at the same time it appeared that she wanted to fix her marriage, and said that Chris wanted a baby boy, and was hoping to give him a boy. In fact, when she found out that she was pregnant, she was delighted that they were indeed having a boy, and it would make him happy. So it appears there is conflicting information. With text message evidence, Shanann was planning to leave Chris. But then again, there is the part where she was trying to fix her marriage, and even ordering self-help books and suggesting couples counseling, etc. Shanann's parents told the media that they had no idea that Shanann and Chris's marriage was in trouble. But apparently prior to the murders, Shanann's mother mentioned at her workplace that Shanann and Chris were definitely getting a separation. They clearly were not happy, and Shanann had conflicting feelings about her marriage. However, he did not have to annihilate his family. Chris seemed to have wanted out since he got involved with Nikki, and I do believe his parents, who do not like Shanann, influenced him to leave Shanann too. However, he did not have to annihilate his family. He could have just got a divorce and got his start that he wanted. It is such a sad story and senseless loss of lives. There is so much evidence supporting the fact that Nicole, Chris Watts' mistress, knows more than she is letting on. For example, she told police she had started her affair with Chris Watts in June 2018, yet evidence shows her online searches in September 2017, proving that she had looked up Shanann Watts months before she had started her affair with Chris. She would have known that Chris was indeed married with children, and with Shanann displaying her life all over Facebook, she would have known that Shanann was pregnant. Yet she told the police she had no idea that Shanann was pregnant. This is clearly a lie according to this evidence. Strangely enough, this seems to be overlooked. I feel like there's so much more behind the scenes that never came out, especially regarding Nicole Kessinger. How did they not link her as an accomplice? A lot of people question this. What are your thoughts? Shortly after Chris buried Shanann and dumped his girls in the oil tanks, he went out towards the open field where there were sunflowers, and he took a picture. It is also noted that girlfriend Nicole had a collection of flower pictures on her phone, and whenever Chris would stumble upon some wildflowers, he would take a picture for her collection and send them to her. This means, after brutally murdering his family, he took pictures of flowers to send to his girlfriend at some point. Or was that a secret code? A signal to let her know that it was done. He got rid of his family. Do you think Nicole is involved? Did they plan this? to dispose of the bodies at the place they both worked at? Either way, Chris is a really cold-hearted monster. Shortly after murdering his family, he looked up Metallica lyrics to the song Battery. The track contains lyrics such as, "Smashing through the boundaries, lunacy has found me," and "Pounding out aggression turns into obsession, cannot kill the battery, cannot kill the family." He sounds completely detached, so heartless. However, there are still people out there who believe Shanann killed the girls and he didn't know what to do, yet Chris admitted to killing the entire family. This guy wanted to get rid of his family and start over with his mistress, and I think that was his motive. Mistress Nicole Kessinger also Google searched if cops could trace text messages, and she had searched for wedding dresses online before the murders took place. Nicole deleted a lot of crucial evidence by deleting text messages from Chris off her phone that would indicate she was guilty of something. Innocent people have nothing to hide, so it makes us question, why did she delete those messages that could have been so crucial in the investigation? I do think there is so much more to the story and would love to hear your thoughts about this. Another thing I wanted to discuss is if Chris stages calls and texts to Shanann's phone in search of her, why did he not think his next steps through thoroughly? He agreed to a polygraph test after giving a very emotionless interview with the media. He used his work truck knowing that it had GPS tracking in it, and it would lead the cops straight to the bodies. He did not ask for a lawyer even when his dad, Ronnie Watts, suggested one. Why was he so careless in his actions thereafter? Like the manner in how he disposed of the sheets, one found in the garbage can in the kitchen, and the other in the field where he worked and where the bodies were found. The crime was premeditated, yet his actions were very sloppy, as if he wanted to get caught and not get away with it. It just seemed too easy.
Like, I'm not sure. I'll just wait for you to ask a question, but like, I want them wherever they're at. Like, I have no inclination to where they're at right now. Like, I've exhausted like every friend that I know of, and every friend that I have has called friends that Shanann has that maybe I didn't know about, and it's just like it's vanished. Like, she's not, like, when I got home yesterday, it was like a ghost town. Like, she wasn't here.
Chris's body language and nonchalant attitude gave him away too. He did not shed one tear for his missing family, and during some of the media interviews actually laughed like a duper's glee laugh, which is crazy, reflecting a true psychopath that he is. He also phoned the school the girls were going to attend that morning, telling the school the kids would not be attending there any longer, and that they were moving away. And then he contacted a realtor to discuss selling his house. Someone also mentioned if he had left a door or window open in his home after the crime was committed, that could have changed everything. Especially the back door where there were no cameras or neighbors' CCTV cameras, and that could have extended the investigation. But that again is just speculation. Chris Watts was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his 2 daughters and pregnant wife, but I have read several times that Chris Watts is not found anywhere on the prison database. We think this is really odd, and we would love to hear your thoughts on this. If you have found any further discrepancies on this case, please share them in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts. Alright guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below, connect with us on all of our social media. The links are in the description. Can't wait to hear from you guys. Much love from our world to yours.